And we are live. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. We've got a preview for the Watford game. We're going to be looking at all the formation. We're going to look at formation. We're going to be looking at injuries. We're going to look at transfer windows. Boy, there's a lot of little things going on. Nothing major, but first of all, Alex, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm just stuck here in the great land of Unterrible in another lockdown. But other than that, I'm doing fantastic. You got Leicester City football coming up again on Saturday. So, that's a positive in my books. I can't really do anything else, but at least you got football.
And not just football. We're getting game after game after game. Because these games are coming thick and fast with the Premier League, and we have not got the injuries right. We'll get straight into the injury news because for this game, there's going to be a lot. Obviously, there's the contenders that you think. Obviously, Wes Fofana, James Justin, Johnny Evans. But then you've got people missing in AFCON now. Our back two, our centre-back pairing of Ndidi and Nemate have both gone. Soyuncu is still out with an injury. Pereira's got obviously a fresh injury now as well. We're not left with a lot of defenders, are we, really, Alex?
No, we really aren't. And then you have to also put into the mix that Evans isn't fully fit either. So you lose him as well. Who are you playing? Like, honestly, who do you play? As bad as it sounds, this is where Vestergaard is like, well, we have Vestergaard.
And we still
Like,
all look around
maybe,
going,
but at that point, does he even play him? Because that's option wise, I feel like you're at the point where you gotta even choose between. I even think Ben Nelson might get his opportunity because we're at the point because I don't think Benkovic is going to get the opportunity either. So that's a player that's just been he's there, but out of any player, I think you give Ben Nelson the opportunity, but then you got to fill in that slot beside him. This is the problem. We don't have anybody. Ethan kind of said it perfectly just in the chat. I think Castagna could slot in if they decide to do like a back three type situation. But at this point, it's kind of like you're fitting, square pegs and round holes. You're just trying to survive. And right now we have like one of those straws and we're underwater and we're just breathing through the straw, but there's waves going over the straw and we're drowning still, but we're just hoping for the best. That's basically what's happening.
And the Premier League just keep adding more games. Again, we've got 2 more games rescheduled. I think we've got for the let me try and bring it up on the flow. It's not the best. The fixtures wise, again, for those of you who don't know, the Tottenham fixture have been rearranged as well as the Everton fixtures. So we've got obviously the Saturday, January 8th, we've got Leicester City versus Watford at 3:00 UK time. Then after that, Tuesday, 11th of January, we've got Everton. 15th, we've got Burnley. Wednesday, we've got a full Premier League month. Then Wednesday, 19th, we've got Tottenham. And then the 23rd, we've got Brighton. This month was supposed to look a little bit more calm after the Liverpool, Man City, Liverpool games.
You would hope so, but there's this funny little thing going around that's just, canceling games left, right, and center. So, how we always talk about how, December is the month that's going to define a season? Well, I don't think December really was the month that's going to define the season. I think January is going to be that month, and we're missing so many players that it's going to be like, okay, this is going to be interesting. It's just hold on to your butts and hope for the best.
Yeah, no worries. Austin says we are screwed. How you doing, Austin? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Talking about Coutinho on loan. Ethan is. I don't think we're going. This rumor has been going on for as long. I think we've been since Brendan Rodgers has been here. This rumor has been about. And Alex, we've said it every single time. Not happening.
No, we don't have. Well, we don't have the wage for that. And then secondly, he doesn't fit our criteria in my opinion. You have players like Madison. I would even play Perez over him right now because Coutinho hasn't been in form, it seems like, for the last 2 years. So, why are we going to bring in this player who's really going to disrupt the squad and the squad dynamics because you're bringing in some quote unquote superstar? And, he has that name beside his actual, name, but I feel like he would just cause more disruption within the squad itself. So, I think there's better opportunities and better options out there at a cheaper rate, especially on loan deals.
Yeah, totally. And also somebody else to bring up, Rob Tanner backs us up on that, so that's put that to bed. We did a rumor transfer in summer where he came on, and if you've seen it, there's a little clip. I've put it out. Didn't go so well on Twitter. That's where I learned about Twitter. Really, I was like, okay, but that we'll have to say. Anyway, good evening to you, or whatever time it is over you, Glenn as well. Hope you're doing well. Hope to have you on the Saturday as well after the game. Benkovic might as well play. Might as well give him a game or give him away in the transfer window. I mean, we had our opportunities. Brendan Rodgers knows about him. It's just not happening, is it? This is his opportunity. I think, as Glenn said, this is opportunity now. Him or Ben Nelson, and I think. I don't want to say, but I remember the Norwich game, and there was an opportunity to use a third player use a player because somebody was out or injured or something. They chose to put Jakupovic in, 2 goalkeepers over putting Benkovic, and I think they've done that a couple of times this season, which I think his career at Leicester City was never really started, but it's kind of finished.
Oh yeah, no, I've kind of written him off, to be honest, and I know that sounds pretty blunt, but like he's had opportunities, and if you can't even get in front of Vestergaard, there's red
Nelson.
flags. Well, I think Nelson's Nelson. I mean, wait, we're
You
talking
said
about Nelson. Yeah. Well, no. I was saying that if Benkovic can't even get in front of Vestergaard or get any playing time, that's saying something. But I think Nelson, like I said, I think Nelson is the better option at this point.
Yeah, no, definitely.
He's still like 18, or he's 17 or 18. Like, he's just a kid.
Yeah, he's just a child. So again, it'll be good for him to get an experience. But yeah, I think so. One thing, if you do want to, again, something that's just released on the channel today, if you've not seen it before, Leicester City. So James and Hannah from the women's side have got Emma Sanders, who is like the Fabrizio Romano of women's football. So make sure you go check that out after this one as well. Really good interview. I'm about halfway through it, and loads of really key nuggets of information there. If you want to follow the women's side, if you want to just catch up with some of the women's side that's gone on, phenomenal interview. Right, back to this. In terms of, have you seen any play? Well, so we've got all these things that are happening at the moment. Obviously, one thing as well. So defensive line, we're injured. The other side as well, all of our strikers are out. Iheanacho is on international duty with Africa Cup of Nations with Nigeria. Vardy is out for the whole of January, for it seems like. Daka isn't fit to come back just yet. He might be fit, hopefully, in the next week or so. So in the next coming week. It's not looking good, is it?
No, it's not. And it's difficult to figure out what you're going to do. And you look at who you have in the squad, and I don't know what you would do, because the way that I kind of look at this is that, you got Barnes, who's fit. You got Lookman, who's fit. You got Madison, who's fit. And then you got Perez. But that's like all you have. Like, that's all 4 of those players that you got there. Do you put Perez up in like a center forward position with like Madison just behind him, and then you have the wingers? I don't really know what you do here. Like, it's an option. I don't think Rodgers is going to do anything, or the club's going to do anything prior to the Watford game to bring someone in. It's just not going to happen. So like, you got to just kind of you got to figure out what you're going to do with the players that you have. But it's tough because you look at who we're missing, and the quality that we have up there, and I think it's definitely going to be something that we're going to be struggling with until we get some fit players back.
Yeah, no, definitely, and it's going to be a problem. Again, we did a whole video as well. I'm just full of plugs today. If you check out yesterday's video, I did a video with Ant. We went through some of the formation things we can do, and I think went for a 3-4-1-2, playing Lookman up front, and I looked on the attacks, midfielders, and defense. Lookman's Perez is listed as a forward and same as Lookman, while Barnes is listed as a midfielder. So it shows you that they both can play the front. But in terms of formation, Alex, what would you do if you were Brendan Rodgers?
I don't even. That's the problem. I've been trying to figure this out, because like, I've been trying to figure out who's fit and who's healthy and who's not away for international duty, and it's like, I don't even know on how you're going to do this, because like, do you play 3 at the back? Do you play 4? 4? Like, I don't know.
One
so
centre back, like, either way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you got Luke Thomas, who is who's been solid all year, in my opinion. But then I don't know. I don't even know if I can give you like an actual relative accurate formation that would actually fit the players that we have, with the players that we have, because it just seems like we're dealing with just like a complete jumbled group of players, and it's going to be like Rogers. Like I said, Rogers just going to be like, you're going to go here and you're going to go here, but I play this position. Yeah, but you're going to play here today. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, we are dealing with, again, midfield-wise, there isn't a lot of injury. The only player that's really missing, obviously, Mendy on international duty wasn't really part of the squad anyway, and Diddy would be another one as well. And then maybe Amate, but he's mostly been centre-back. He's not really played midfield since we came into since we won the Premier League, so that doesn't really count. So in terms of that, we have got a stacked midfield. So there's loads of midfielders to choose from, and a lot of them, it's going to be hard to drop whoever they are, because KDH on form, Maddison on form, Tillerman's coming into the back of it, Samore looks decent, Chowdhury, that midfield position is absolutely stacked. So we're going to have to find out there what's happening. Just some updates in terms of Watford. So Ismail Assar has decided to go on international duty, but Dennis hasn't. So for your FPL fantasy teams, that could be something to look out for as well. So Dennis is going to, I don't know if he'll play in this game, but he is available for this game. He's been a right nuisance, but he was supposed to be away with Nigeria. He's not gone. Hopefully, I'll give some Iheanacho some more time. Hopefully, he'll come back with an injury. But yeah, Dennis, I think, will be a thorn in the side if he was to play, like he was in the reverse fixture.
Yeah, no, he's been great for my my fantasy football league. So he's done great with that. So I have no complaints about that. But I think he's just gonna. I don't know why. If he does play, I feel like he's gonna cause some problems for us. It just seems like that's like the way of the land when it happens with Leicester, is that you always have that one player that's always hot and just, I don't know, he always takes advantage of Leicester City. So I don't know why, but I just feel like he's going to be that one player that he's going to be the thorn in our side come Saturday.
Yeah, no, definitely. Again, defensively, we're not strong there. So we'll have to see, because there's just not a lot going right with Leicester City. Again, hopefully we can string it together. Brendan Rodgers has done it before. I mean, look at the back line of Daniel Martial and Wilfred Ndidi against Liverpool. It can work, but you don't know with Leicester City. It's a complete roll of the dice at the moment. We will have to see. And I think Glenn puts a good point as well. We're now the holders of the FA Cup. So I think, and Brendan always uses the cups to his advantage, but he has to think about the Premier League as well. How do you think he's going to play? Do you think he'll go stronger in this match, weaker in the Everton match? Because they're only 3 days apart, and that's got to be something he's got to bear in mind.
Normally, I would say I think he'd put out a stronger squad for the cup game. But when you look at who we have fit and who we have available, it brings up an entirely different set of questions. And I think this is where we're going to have our issues. Yeah, we are the holders of the FA Cup, but we also, I would say, we're down to the bare bones of our squad. Like, we don't really have a lot to play with. So it's kind of making that decision of like, okay, if I put out a strong squad, on Saturday, like what's going to happen on when we play Everton? For me personally, I think I would start a stronger squad against Watford. And I think that just comes from, we are the reigning champions for the FA Cup, so like, I don't want to see us come out with like, this very weak side and just being like, well, if we win, we win. It's going to be kind of, we're expected to get a little bit farther. So I look at this game as a more important game because, no offense, I look in the table and I look at, where we're at. I'm actually not too concerned.
10 points off Arsenal.
And I'm not too concerned about Everton. And I know, some might say, what do you mean by that? Well, they've been struggling all season. And, I'm not that concerned about that. I think pending any, any injuries or whatnot, I definitely think we could pull away with 3 points against Everton next week.
Yeah, and it's hard. I think Glenn puts a good point. We've only got 13 fit players in terms of the first team players. It's mental that we're going to have to continue with this. Again, there's some good shouts. Again, Vontae Daly Campbell's another good shout on that right-hand side, I think, as well as Ethan put. Maybe in the back three, then you've got, I think we were discussing this when we were doing the thing, playing potentially. We did wing backs, so Vontae Daly Campbell one side, and then you drop them. You can play Castagna either as you play Luke Thomas at fullback, which is okay. It's not ideal. Ideally, you'd play Castagna at fullback because he's more designed for it. But then you can't. I would feel like Castagna works better in a back three than put Luke Thomas as a fullback. You're losing either way, but there is some options there. But we are clutching at straws. I mean, 13 fit players is not a lot, and we can't afford to lose any more. That's the other problem as well.
Yeah, you're going to be Frankensteining the entire lineup, in my opinion. You're literally going to be like, okay, this might work for this, and if it doesn't work, we're going to change it on the fly. And I feel like that's kind of the tactics that Rodgers is going to play with. I don't think he has many options.
Yeah.
I think we can other clubs can be like, oh yeah, we're dealing with injuries here too, but I don't think there's a lot of clubs that are dealing with as many injuries as we are, and then at the same time we're missing 3 players that we've been using almost every week. It's definitely going to be painful.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think it's a good point as well. And we'll get to your point later on. We are coming to transfers, don't you worry. I think at the moment, again, just going back to your comments. Yeah, maybe the important game is the Everton game. Maybe for your opinion. However, I think from a personal note, the Premier League is kind of done. I think this season for us.
That's what he said, though. That's what they said.
Oh, sorry. This is the more important game than the Everton. Sorry, misread. Yeah, so I think the Premier League, we kind of have to just get through this with whatever we can, then build again in February. By that time, for me, I'd put Conference League ahead. I'd put what's it called? And I'd put trying to go for that for the FA Cup and retain that as a more bigger opportunity, because I mean, trying to play some of these teams we're playing at the moment, it's going to be absolute suicide. But we'll have to continue with this anyway. Back to some of what we've got actually in the thumbnail, transfers. So, Alex, you've seen some of the transfers. Is there anybody you want to start on? I've got some lined up, so take it away, whichever one you want to look at first.
You just give me someone, and we'll go with that person.
Sure. Let's go to the easiest to pronounce. Well, not easy to pronounce. Calvin Ramsey. 18-year-old, I think 19 now. Position, he plays a right back, but he can play. He's kind of the person you're comparing to is a James Justin, from what I can see, kind of player. Relatively cheap from Aberdeen. Looks like a lot of teams are interested in him. Everton are interested in him. Newcastle are interested in him. But he fits the kind of style and when you see a player in the linked Leicester City, you go, that makes sense. He's one that fits the bill perfectly, and he could be a player that we see bring in. However, the issue is he can play fullback, wing back. He can play or centre of back three like James Justin. The issue is as well, A, we're going to try and drop him in the deep end and get him to start if we do sign him, and B, fullback position-wise, we are really stacked if everybody's fit.
That is true, but I feel like with him, he is so versatile that he can really slot in wherever you need him. And that's nothing towards some of the players that we do have, but there's some players that we do have that are only they only play a certain position, and that's it. And I think having a player that has that type of versatility would really benefit us, because if you look at our squad right now and you see the amount of injuries we had, you'd be a player that could come in and be like, oh, I can play this position, or I can play this position, and it's not the same type of situation we're in now, where it's like, okay, who the heck is going to play in this in this spot? We don't have anybody. When it comes to, I would definitely be in favor of getting him, and if we can pull it off, then that'd be great. But it all comes down to what other clubs are interested, and I think that's been the conversation that I feel like everyone's been having, is that we could easily be like, yeah, we're gonna offer X amount of dollar, and we can get them. But then you have other clubs, and i.e. I'm talking about Newcastle, who can just kick through the door like they're the Kool-Aid man and be like, oh yeah, and then throw 50 million pounds at them just because they feel like it. So yeah, would love him. He's young, and that's something that I feel like Leicester is so good at, is building young players into absolute quality players. And I think that would be a perfect addition, especially with, and I'm not nothing against Pereira, but Ricardo's been dealing with injuries, and like so you bring in a young player that's more competitive, and not saying that Pereira won't get back in, but like it's just the way that we're dealing with right now. It's exactly so like yeah.
Yeah, I think Ethan, I saw your comment. There's three good players, great players, by the way. Malang Sarr, again, I think is a great defender. Joe Rodon, again, one I think people were looking at to come to Leicester. You end up going to Spurs. Don't know if he'll actually do that well under Conte, because Conte likes older, experienced players, and it looks like they're going to spend the buck. And Nat Phillips, again, the only issue with these three players, it's the same reason why this time last year Maitland-Niles didn't come to us, because Arsenal saw us as a rival to get the top position. And I think Chelsea, Spurs, and Liverpool will do exactly the same thing, even though we're not quite there yet. And we're at a point now, again, Alex, tell me if you disagree, where we don't want to be loaning a player and just giving back to a rival. Like we're competitive with Chelsea, Spurs, and Liverpool on our day. Not this season, but last season, for example. Give and strengthen a player and give them back. It's not worth the fee that we're going to lose. You see what I mean? Even though it does help in the short term.
No, I agree. It's like, oh, we'll take this player out and we'll use him. And then all of a sudden at the end of the season, it's like, oh, go back. And then they go back and then they're like, oh, this player is great now. Thanks.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like, it's just, for me, it's just like, no, thank you.
Like we did to Luton with KDH.
Yeah. Like everybody loves, KDH down at Luton. And now we're like, thank you. And I don't know about you, but one of my favorite things last season was when he did come back to Leicester, the amount of Luton fans that were like, can we buy him? Like, how much? Like, and then there's like a bunch of the supporters were like, I will donate my arm. Like, what do I do to get him down, get him to Luton? Because they all loved him. He's been such a huge piece of the puzzle for us here this season.
Yeah, he was phenomenal, and the match against Liverpool, he was so good. And I think one thing as well is that, and also remember the kind of the clenched bum cheeks that we had when what's his face, when Tielemans didn't sign, and we're like, can we get him? And then he was offered to Man United, he was offered to Spurs, who didn't take him, and we could have trained him up and then just gave him on. We don't want to make that mistake. The problem is we're only going to have low moves, but it's not going to work in our favor. So we have to get the right person for the right time as well. Another one that people have seen in the chat as well, and it's true. Bertrand to Chelsea. That surely can't happen, right?
I'll pay for his bus ticket. Like, don't get me wrong. The Bertrand situation is so it sucks. I'll be brutally honest with that, because when we first signed him, I feel like a lot of people were excited because he brought in that veteran presence. He brought in, the experience and everything. And everyone was so excited about this. And then when he started in the preseason, he was fantastic. And then he got sick.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like the shell of what he used to be. So honestly, if Chelsea were like, hey, we want Bertrand, I'd be like, take him. I'll give you $1 million for him. Just take him. Like, because he's just like, I've said it before, like, I feel like Bertrand now is just we're paying his wages. That's it. Like, he really isn't anything else at this point. And that sucks to say, because I was so excited for him at the start of the season.
The one thing that's giving them credit, it's like winning the lottery. I think the thing is, I think, again, he's got the opportunity, but it's just not there. And when he's played, even when you look at what game was it? It was the Brighton game in the cup, and you've got players like Luke Thomas, Hamza Chowdhury, who's not started for ages, and he was the weakest person on the pitch by quite a substantial amount. And it's just it is a lot. But I think one thing as well with Chelsea, they will know they paid 35 million for Drinkwater, so we are. So there is an option. There is a thing, and. They will just. It looks like Luca Digne may be going again. I think we were just speaking off camera, Alex. Every single person and their mum is being linked to Newcastle at the moment.
I'm surprised we don't have any of our players actually linked, because I was like looking at our squad and I'm like, okay, which player would be linked to Newcastle right now? Because at this point, everybody is. So I'm actually shocked.
It's just because they're injured. We've got everybody injured.
I know, it's just like, but if we had a fully fit squad, it'd be a completely different story. But no, honestly, like if Bertrand, if my Christmas gift in January, my lockdown gift would be if Chelsea came in and we're like, we'll give you 15 mil, we'll give you the money back that you spent on Vestergaard for Bertrand. I'd be like, yes, he's yours. Like, I don't care. Like that, I'd be like, this is Christmas in January type
Swap
thing.
deal for Melangsar. That would be very nice. Yeah, so that's the thing at the moment is there's not a lot we can do. The rumors are very light on that. It just seems like I don't think it'll actually happen, but it could. You never know. But there's not a lot to talk about. Another player there is to talk about. That's kind of gone a little bit more quiet recently. Abdulmumin, another Ghanaian excellence junior, Ghanaian centre back. Again, he's a kind of person I looked at and went, that works for Leicester City. A young player that we can train up. 23 years old, 1998. 23 years old. Nice. He's quite a tall player. 1.88 m. About 2.7. He's played for. He's currently a Portuguese side. Guimarães. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Sorry, I've seen it before, but cost you about 10 mil. I think Leicester will be loaning players. However, that's another good signing and looks like we're looking at the right players in the right position as well.
Yeah, when I first heard the rumors about him, I will admit, didn't know a thing about him. Had to do some research on him. From what I've read about him, he sounds promising. You have to also realize that, he's a center backs and we desperately need center backs. And if you look at the age of a lot of our center backs, we got Fofana, who's young, perfect. You got Soyuncu, who's kind of in the he's rounding that middle 20s age. Then you're dealing with, so he's getting into that age where I think it's either you're going to see him to start really developing or he's going to fall back. So it's really, I feel like the next season or two is going to be really, really important for Soyuncu. Then you got Evans, and let's be serious here. I don't know how many games and how much his legs have got left, to be honest. So like you got that, and then you're dealing with Amarty, who's his contract's done at the end of the season, and then you got the tall human who doesn't know how to do anything, Vestergaard. So I think he would be a great, acquisition if we can actually manage to get that across the line. I also know that there's a lot of teams interested in him. So, if we could get the funds to actually get him here would be fantastic. But I feel like in order to do so, we might need to send someone out. That's the other question, is because the way that I kind of have really seen is that we spent literally every penny we had on Vestergaard. And so now we're scrounging, and counting our pennies to, see what we can do. And it's going to be tough. So I don't know if any players are actually going to leave this window. If they do, it won't be a lot.
Maybe on loan.
Maybe on loan. But the only player I really see leaving is Mendy because he's not even registered.
Benkovic.
So, yeah, but what are you going to get? 500,000? Like, let's be serious, right? Like,
yeah.
So you're
there's not a lot to choose from at the moment. And it's just, again, these players aren't coming back soon. The only player that's looking to come back soon is probably Daka. But again, that gives us a striker, which is good, but that leaves a lot of room for improvement again. Yeah. So we will have to see, because at the moment, I think somebody put earlier as well. I can't remember. Where's it? Oh, well, somebody put Chowdhury Prop, and we're here for Chowdhury Prop. So yeah, he has been, again, I know I'm biased, but when he's come in, he's looked good. And he's looked, again, with the amount of games he's played. So Mumin, again, another one that, again, it looks like it's probably not going to happen now, but another player that I saw and went, okay, that looks like a Leicester City signing. Bruges, I don't know how to pronounce that. Charles de Kettelier. I think you guys know who I'm talking about. Again, he's been linked. 1.92 m, plays for Bruges. About 24 million career expired. So he's about 20 years old. He can play, again, centre forward, centre mid, right winger. Can play as a false nine or like a front forward as well. Again, I think Ethan put in, we do need a little bit of a rebuild, especially with Tielemans leaving. For me, him coming in, or especially if him and there's looks of like Perez potentially leaving as well, he's the player that we can bring in and hopefully take us to another level. But he's another one that I saw and went, okay, that works for Leicester City. And it's really good that we're getting linked to these rather than before it was strikers and midfielders. And I was like, come on, like, we need to actually solve the problem right now. But this one looks like it's going to potentially happen, if it is going to happen, in the summer.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, is that, with that type of a fee along with it, we have no funds for that right now. So if we're actually looking at a player like that, that's going to be a summer deal, because let's be serious, we all know that Yuri is going to be leaving in the summer, and if you're hoping that he's not, then I love the optimism, but like I feel like everybody is kind of under the same assumption that he's probably going to leave in the summer. So depending on what we get for him, that's going to give us some funds to rebuild wherever we need, really, because I feel like it's going to be a very interesting summer, because I don't know what's going to actually happen when it comes to players, because it really all depends as to where we finish in the league. And so we could see more players, other than, Yuri leave. And if that's the case, we'll bring in we'll bring in a lot of funds, and, that will give us the opportunity to rebuild. But we don't really do much in the January window. Let's be serious. There's all this paper talk. We're always linked to players, but, if we bring a player in, it's usually like we're Ryan Bennett, and then we just have like absolute, nightmares of what he's done. So
Ryan Bennett, before that,
it
was Tillemans. There was a guy called Molly Wagyu who we bought in, and he came in. I think he was I don't know if he had played against Watford, but the next season he actually was loaned, or Watford bought him. But he played for one match, got injured for the rest of that 6 months, and we never even dealt with him ever again. I was like, right. I think that was a Craig Shakespeare signing, Claude Wells signing. Sorry, we need a centre back because we didn't trust Bella Luan basically, and we need another player. So yeah, there's a bit of an issue at the moment in terms of centre backs and that. But anything you want to say apart from that, Alex? Because again, there's not really a lot happening. But the main thing is just trying to get through this period with as little extra injuries as possible, and trying to just wrap people up in cotton wool and get them back out. It's just unfortunate that with the mixture of COVID, injuries, the games being played again and again, I think it's took a toll on our team.
It really has. I feel like everything's just been so fortunate this season, and we can blame injuries all we want, but every single team, every single club is dealing with this type. We're dealing with injuries. We're dealing with this pandemic. So like, there's been quarantining left, right, and center. There's been postponements. It just seems like nothing is. It's been a season like no other, and it's funny to say that, because I feel like the last season we talked about it like it was a season of like no other, and then the season before that, where we literally stopped and then came back, was a season like no other. It's been 3 seasons that have just been absolutely insane. And, I think this is one of the concerns for me, is that we have so many games coming up in such short little time. It's going to be, okay, let's hope to God that we're not going to have any more injuries, because that's the biggest thing for me, is that if we can come out of this with no more injuries, we're successful. That's the way I'm looking at this. It's, if we can win a game here, if we draw a couple games, if we lose a game, but we come out with no injuries, I'm happy, because we keep losing players, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And, I think that's where it just comes down to at this point, is that where I look at where we're at in the table, we're not going to have any issues dealing with relegation. I'm not concerned about that whatsoever. But it's just, we just got to maintain a healthy play for the rest of the season, and if we finish, I'd be very happy if we finish 6th or 7th. Do I think it's a possibility? It might be. You never know. But if we finish in that 9th, 10th, 11th spot, I'll be content with it, because it's been one of those seasons. There's been so many teams that have improved this year.
Yeah.
It's just been wild. And like, at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? If everything works and we finish 9th, 10th, whatever, I'm happy, because this is a season like no other. You can't predict what's going to happen. Because,
yeah. Like, just on your point again, we look at the table now. Leicester City on again -2, 25 points. So it's not great at the moment. However, Brighton look like they've slumped. Wolves, you're not sure what's happening with them. Crystal Palace look like, again, they're a new manager, new team. They're going to take time to rebuild, like to get all of that back up and running. Manchester United are in a really weird spot. Tottenham in a really weird spot. West Ham, we don't know. But bearing in mind, again, everybody's played. So we've 3 games behind Chelsea. If we do, let's say we win all 3 games, that
We're right
takes
back
us
in the
up.
mix.
Yeah, we are back in the mix. We are at 34 points, which puts us up to West Ham. It's not impossible, but at the same time, it's improbable. But the Premier League is just at the moment we will have to see, because I'm happy to kind of write this season off. However, I know Brendan won't, and Brendan will go and put out a strong enough team to kind of get through this period. And hopefully, I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but we can build on with the progress that we made from the Liverpool game. But nothing surprised me at this point.
Exactly, because like I said, to further follow the point of saying that this season's been one of those seasons, is that we lose to Liverpool in penalties in a game that we should have won because we were playing against their second/third squad, and then 6 days later we beat them 1-0 in probably one of the best games I've seen them play all year against their top against their top players. So
Yeah,
it's one of those
with a
seasons where you
full
just don't
fit
know.
squad team.
You don't know what you're going to get. Yeah. So it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I really hope that the time away, the healing. Hopefully we've been able to rest. Some of the players that might have just picked up injuries have been able to heal up a bit before this next match, and that they have a little bit more motivation after that Liverpool victory. But in the back of my mind, though, I still have maybe they look at this as an international break. And then I freak out a little bit more because you know how we've played after an international break. So I don't know what you're going to get. We don't know what's going to happen. It's one of those seasons where you go, okay, wherever we finish, we finish. Let's just get through this season because it's just one of those years.
And minimize damage, just damage limitation at this point. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Again, make sure to check out the channel as well. Emma Sanders for the women's side. We've got myself and Ant have done a video looking at some formations and things. If you're interested in that, click on that after the video. Thank you so much for subscribing. You guys have been brilliant. Thanks for supporting us. Again, happy 2022. I think it's the first video we've done live stream in 2022. So have a good new year. Hopefully Leicester will. We'll see everybody in the next video. So goodbye.